Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast that's an arboreal coincidence. That's a mouthful, because this week we watched In the Forest of the Night.
Written by Frank Cottrell Boyce, or Cottrell Boyce, or for once I got the hard name to say.
Directed by Sherry Folkson.
And aired on October 25th, 2014.
Is this Sherry Folkson's first work? And only work, apparently, on the show. Wow.
Well, it was nothing to write home about.
Nothing about this episode was anything to write home about.
For once, an environmental story that I'm not going to say that I really liked.
I was actually really surprised to hear that from you. I've always been supremely underwhelmed by this episode. Ever since I watched it the first time.
Like last week's episode, I don't think it was like bad. I just don't think it was. I just
think this episode was underwhelming. I think it's like a really cool premise that they didn't do anything with. You know,
they even say that in the episode of like, well, I guess all of this was just for our benefit. Nothing we can do, nothing we should do.
Yeah, the entire thing was completely and utterly inconsequential. In fact, everything would have played out better if the doctor hadn't been there.
Well, I mean, that's all part of it, right? Of like, you know, we're cutting down these, like, it's part of the environmental sort of message, right? Of like, we're doing these things that are actually harming us.
It does get a little bit on the nose at the end, though. It's a little bit weird,
I guess. But like, I mean, I like that. It's like, all right, you know, if we just leave everything alone, then like we're good, I guess. Which isn't like there's I mean, also this entire branch of environmentalism of like the Earth will be fine, like it can sort itself out. So like just pollute it as much as possible. Like it's fine, guys. It's fine.
Almost feels like that's what this story is actually telling us.
But it's also telling us like, hey, don't actually do anything. Don't do anything, and it'll all just work out for the best. Like, don't pollute, but don't try and save the world either.
Yeah,
just do nothing. Just do nothing.
But the easiest interpretation of that is just don't change what you're doing now, right? It's the easiest way to not do anything about it.
I guess all the trees just disappear after the solar flare too.
Yeah, they did. So.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I guess it's a cool environmental sort of thing, but
it was a cool premise that again I didn't feel like they did anything with. Anyway, We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Because before we go into this, I want to mention this off the top that next week we're going to be joined by J.B. Anderton, correspondent and host of Who 37, I believe it's called.
Right.
So he'll be joining us for Dark Water / Death in Heaven next week.
So looking forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It's going to be an exciting episode, I think.
Yeah, the preview definitely makes it look exciting. Apparently Clara never existed.
Oh, that's such a bait. When I saw that in the preview, I was like, man, they're so baiting you with that. But anyway.
They're master baiters, you would say.
You said it, not me. Not
Can't
sure
believe
if we have
I said it.
Not sure if we have to ding that out for iTunes content policy or not.
It's two clean words, right? Master and baiter. Why in the world would you have to bleep that out? If you're going to bleep that out,
why.
Just bleep out every time we've said the master's name.
Why?
Master, you know? Master.
But that doesn't mean... No, it's not. No, it's not.
Anyway, there are kids in this episode.
Wait, what?
There are kids in it, and you know what that means. It means it's not a very good episode.
It means you're going to go for the most blunt segue in existence.
They're not very good actors, as is typical. They don't really contribute.
Yeah, they're all pretty bad.
I don't know. It's typical like kids in
TV it's
/
Frank Cottrell
Boyce.
I'm just going to go with Frank Boyce. He's apparently a well-known kids author.
Apparently he also has 7 children, which maybe contributes to his wanting to include kids in the story.
He's obviously not a masturbator.
You said it, not me. No, I mean, this is weird, though, because wouldn't you think that someone with a lot of kids would write a story with no kids so they could get away from, like, the little that they probably have to raise 24/7?
That would I have to beep. Well, his next story has no kids at all. His next story has like no characters except for the doctor and his companion.
Edge of Destruction 2. Electric Boyce Galoo.
Almost.
I said it, not you.
Thank God. But he's a kid's author. Apparently, he's written like 4 sequels to Ian Fleming's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing about that is that Ian Fleming, the guy who wrote the misogynistic James Bond books, is the guy who wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
I don't even know what Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is about. I know it has a flying car.
Yeah, it's a book about kids with a flying car. There's a movie too. Yeah.
Sounds. I mean, you can do a lot of that.
The car's like sentient, I think, or at least implied to be, but doesn't talk. It's just like kind of like the TARDIS, you know, like the TARDIS.
Huh.
Yeah. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's written a whole bunch of sequels to that. He's a well-known kids author. Writes a story about kids for kids. For this, is what I feel like.
Sure. So, Clara and Danny are at a museum.
Apparently they had a sleepover at the museum with, quote, special, unquote, kids, according to the wiki. Whatever that means.
Yeah, so... Yeah, now that you mention it, who were these kids? Like,
they're from a Coal Hill school.
I know, but like they were obviously, this isn't a class. This is just an assemblage of. Oh, maybe these are the cadets.
No,
they
never call themselves the Coal Hill Cadets. And why would Mabe be a Coal Hill Cadet?
I don't know. You never know what Danny Pink has up his sleeve. You never know what Danny Pink's gonna say next.
Yeah, when he whips out "I'm a soldier" as a response to a question in which that doesn't fit as an answer at all in this episode.
Anyway, there are a couple more, prominent kids.
I don't know any of their names.
No, but there's the kid with the like swept over hair.
Well, there's the girl, there's the bully, and there's the what's the other guy's defining characteristic?
The guy who just makes like funny quips every once in a while.
The comedic relief.
He was the best.
There's the girl, the bully, and the comedic relief.
Hey, maybe the comedic relief is just trying to rock the boat and stir up trouble because he like goes like, oh man, like we're all gonna die. And he gets shut down by Clara and Danny, but like maybe his master plan is just to throw everything into chaos. Maybe he's just trying to be like the chaotic force behind the order the trees are trying to bring to the world.
But the story actually begins with Mabe running up to the TARDIS and reading the help sign and being like, hey, I need your help. And he's like, what? Who sent you? And she's like, Miss. He's like, oh, Ms. Oswald? And she's like, Miss. I don't know if you figured it out yet, but it's not Miss Oswald.
No, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Pretty clear, bro.
Well, they make it clearer later in the episode. But she's like, I need help. And he's like, what? And then he like does a double take because there's a forest outside. He's like, wait, I should be in London. And he tries to move the TARDIS. He's like, you are at your destination. He's like, I should be in the middle of London. And she's like, well, you are in the middle of London. Here, come outside. And there's Nelson's column right there.
Yep, and we cut to other famous London landmarks engulfed by trees.
We cut to a lot of things engulfed in trees. Then we cut to a newsreel engulfed in trees. And we get this quote, humor, unquote, with this guy in... where was he? Somewhere in Africa. He's like, there was supposed to be a game here today for the World Cup, but it looks like the pitch isn't going to be ready. Ha! What a knee slapper!
I don't even get it. Why is that?
Because the pitch is covered in trees. It's trees.
Yeah.
The pitch is the playing field.
I know, but like, why is that?
So he's like, looks like it's not going to be ready because there's trees all overgrown, so they can't play soccer there. What a knee slapper.
Wait, but I don't get why that's supposed to be a joke. Like,
because he's delivering it like, haha, look at these trees. Looks like we're not going to be able to play, guys.
Oh.
It's just a terrible joke. It's a really bad joke.
As if he's saying, like, we are going to be able to play, and I'm just playing this as a joke. Like, we're going to play in these trees, but I'm just going to play it as a joke that we can't type thing. Like,
not really.
I'm so confused right now.
It's just a really bad joke. Let's just...
I didn't take it as a joke, but okay. Anyway, we cut to a shot of the whole Earth, and it's all green, covered by trees, even the oceans.
Even the desert.
And I guess, I mean, if London is any indication, nobody really reacts or leaves their house or cares.
Yeah, for some reason in London, freaking nobody's on the streets. We literally meet nobody else in this story in apparently the middle of London.
Maeve's mom bikes.
Maeve with a B.
Well, they pronounced it as Maeve.
Nope, Maeve.
No, it
in the credits.
Like Maeve. I know. I was watching this with subtitles on, as they often do. But
and even in the subtitles,
Maeve.
it was Maeve.
No, yeah, exactly. It was Maebhe or something weird like that with a B. But it was like they kept saying Maeve.
I never heard them say
like
Maeve.
It was a more dental, like it wasn't a fully like labial, like it was more of a Maeve.
Maybe Maeve
like
is a spelling error because B is right next to V on the keyboard.
I don't know. I don't know.
Or maybe it's because it's supposed to be like maybe. I don't know.
Whatever. Well, let's just call her Maeve for simplicity's sake, but
because that's her name. Let's just call her Maeve because that's her name.
I don't know. I'm not even going to refer to her by name. I'm just going to see where this discussion takes me.
What?
Anyway, yeah, it's so strange that nobody seems to be outside. Nobody seems to be reacting. Nobody seems to be doing anything.
That's the most bizarre thing about this is that all the news are playing it up like this massive like problem, right? And then freaking Maeve's mom is like, I gotta go pick up Maeve from school, completely somehow oblivious to the fact that there's trees covering the entire London.
Because she looks out the window and she's like, damn, neighbors planted whatever tree it was right in the yard.
Yeah, but that exact statement is what we realize she's completely oblivious to the fact that these trees popped up overnight because she thinks it's the neighbor's trees and not the trees that's popped up overnight. Right. Like, how can you be completely oblivious to this fact? It's on literally every news channel.
Well, the guy in the museum was as well, and this is even stranger. But let's just get there because it's right at the beginning. So Danny and Clara are escorting the kids outside the museum, but the door is like jammed by something. The front entrance, that is. And the guy who works at the museum is like, that's weird. And Danny's like, step aside. So Danny opens the door, and this is when they see.
Well, the group opens the door.
Yeah.
Well, the guy.
Oh yeah, Danny tells him to come.
It's not so weird because the guy's like, oh, there's a trick to opening the door. Hang on, it gets jammed all the time, basically. And he goes walking off to go find something.
I guess. Yeah.
And Danny's like, no, we can just do that.
You can just slam it open. You can just break your door. It's fine.
My question is why Clara is on this trip, right? Why is Clara one of the teacher chaperones on this trip? Like, Danny I get because, Danny's got that soldier experience as much as I loathe to to say it. But, like, what's Clara's, like, qualifications for being on this trip?
Going out with Danny, probably. That's probably what it was. And actually, later on in the episode, I'm just going to mention it now because I'll forget otherwise, we cut to some little clips of Danny and Clara, flashback type things of them in the classroom, and they're terrible teachers.
Yeah.
They're like actually bad teachers.
If I had either of them, I would be like, can I transfer to the other teacher who teaches the same subject?
Well, it's Coal Hill School.
God,
you don't know how many employees they really have. Wait a minute, is the doctor still working as the janitor / caretaker at Coal Hill? Is he just popping in every now and then?
He's probably still on the payroll like he is with UNIT. They probably send him a paycheck, a retirement benefits paycheck.
Nice.
No, I'm sure the old caretaker goes back because I think in that episode he just mentions that he just like sent the guy away on a trip on a vacation for a week.
Tierra del Fuego. Just kidding. I don't know why that was the first place that popped in my head, but it was funny. So I went ahead and said it.
There were so many easier places to say. Like, I don't know. Spain, France, the United States, Canada, India, Turkey.
Svalbard.
Great, now you're getting into the weird places again.
Anyway, they're sort of trekking through the woods. The kids are freaking out.
Understandably, Danny is unfazed. He's just like, whatever.
Does Danny even have human emotions? I'm seriously questioning all of this.
Danny gets more emotions next week when he... Spoiler redacted.
What?
You'll realize what that means next week.
All right. Seems like Danny's only real emotion is just getting mad at people undeservedly.
Pretty much, actually. Pretty much.
Clara also is weirdly Unfazed? Maybe
Well,
a
okay,
little
but-
more concerned. She calls the doctor, but
To be fair, Clara's been traveling in space for
yeah, that's
a
true.
while now.
True.
She's seen aliens. She has almost died multiple times.
Yeah, true.
She calls the doctor, she's like, I've got something amazing to show you for once. And he's like, is it the forest in the middle of London? Because I'm already here with Mabe. And then
Classic
Clara,
snarky 12th Doctor.
well, this is when Clara goes all, time to bicker. She's
Bicker
like,
mode.
engage bicker thrusters. Because she goes up to
Execute
Danny.
Bicker.exe.
She goes up to Danny, and Danny's like, why'd you call him? And she's like, well, because this is a forest. It sprang up overnight. I feel like he's the most qualified to deal with this. And he's like, well, my number one priority is these kids, and we can't involve the doctor. He's like, oh, yeah? Well, how many kids? And Danny's like, what do you mean? She's like, where's Mabe, Danny? And Danny's like, oh, shoot, where's Mabe? Panic. Woo, woo. And Clara's like, guess where Mabe is? With the doctor. Boom.
Z snap.
He just walks off.
Yeah, that's what they do for a while. They just kind of walk off. That's the next maybe 5-10 minutes of the episode is them walking. There's some wolves loose in London.
Well, Danny starts panicking because he's like, Mabe's on medication. She hasn't been stable since her sister vanished.
Right. Yeah, forgot about that plot thread.
It's such a weird plot thread.
That was like the one interesting thing in the episode to me. Of like they resolve it in the way that makes you go like, wait, what? Wait, I don't get this. And then you maybe want to watch it again. But
And then you still don't get it.
yeah.
As I can tell you, having watched it a second time, I still don't get it.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting, right? It's because it's like it's so enigmatic.
Potentially.
But like the rest of the episode is so not interesting that like who even cares, right? So yeah, there's some wolves, there's some tigers, or
And
oh, yeah,
bears,
this is
oh my.
actually that's after they meet back up with the doctor.
No, that's where they meet back up with the doctor. Dr. Maeve and Clara are accosted by the wolves, and they try to scare it off, but then the tiger shows up.
Oh yeah.
But then Danny shows up with the kids to scare off the tiger. With the flashlight that this kid had in the beginning was being a dick and shining it in people's faces.
Yeah.
And Danny's like, what are you doing? The kid's like, I'm allowed to have a flashlight. I'm darkness phobic. And Danny's like, that means you can have a flashlight, not a portable, like, searchlight. Or torch, I guess, what they call it then.
Yeah. Yeah, so they
Asshole
they
kids.
venture further into the woods. I guess any direction is further into the woods because there's
Because the
just
woods is infinite.
everywhere.
That's not really further into the woods. You kind of always remain the same distance from the edge because there is no edge.
Yeah, this is so I wonder
The infinite forest.
I wonder if the forests like around the world are the types of forests that would grow there. Like in, is it tropical rainforest has like tropical plants and London has like deciduous trees and stuff.
Well,
I wonder. That begs
it's
a question.
Interesting question to think about that we never get the answer to.
Yeah, story doesn't explore that whatsoever.
Again, another interesting thing they could have done with this episode that they didn't. I mean,
Well,
I feel
how
like
interesting would that be?
I feel like it would have been interesting to explore the societal upheaval that should have been caused by the fact that society has just basically broken down overnight.
Yeah, one thing that Boyce said in the Doctor Who magazine interview is that post-apocalyptic stories always or tend to explore like, dystopian, like world is covered by cities or it's all desert or it's just nuclear wasteland or whatever. But they don't dive too heavily into forests. So we thought that would be really interesting. And I was like, yeah, that would be really interesting. Too bad this story
Too bad you didn't do that.
do
Yeah.
it.
It's like, man, that'd be great if you explored how that forest actually had societal impacts on that dystopia you talked about. Would be great if you did that.
No, instead we get wolves, tigers, and Maeve's sister.
And Maeve's magic brain.
Yeah, that concept is a little bit too much, I think, for a single Doctor Who episode. That's like a novel's worth of stuff you could do there.
Yeah,
Like
there's-
forest, dystopia, post-apocalyptic
Potentially.
future type thing.
Potentially.
Anyway, some fire crews have been sent out to do controlled burning.
Fahrenheit 451 fire crews.
This doesn't look very safe, nor does it look very controlled because they're just torching the trees.
Yeah, the idea to get society back up and running is to torch the trees down the roads, but that doesn't ignore the That does ignore the fact that like all electricity generation is stopped because there's trees in the way of everything now. Let's like not mention the fact that those generators are probably still busted after the tree sprouted through them when the tree disappears.
And the trees disappear at the end, but like they probably left just massive like holes in like skyscrapers and like historic buildings like falling down.
Well, we see Nelson's column fall down. We see Nelson's column go down. Almost crushes the doctor.
Trees are just like, have fun with that, guys. Planet's saved.
You're welcome.
I guess it is better than everything burning into a
fiery oblivion.
Yeah. But still.
I mean, but still you'd think that, I mean, minor spoiler, you'd think that next week somebody would be like, yeah, man, really sucks that we had to patch up all those holes those trees left. But no, we literally never hear of this again.
Awesome. Anyway, the doctor is clued into the fact that the trees grew overnight because these trees have no rings, which the rings in trees, this story tells you, indicate growth.
Got to get that educational cred for the kids in there.
Well, I knew this in the past, but I had forgotten what what tree rings indicated.
Right.
And now I know.
Well,
now I know.
You probably shouldn't believe the whole big red ring is the atmospheric dust and the solar flare thing.
Well, no, but it is like the bigger the ring, like each ring is 1 year, and the bigger the ring, this is like from in real life too.
Yeah,
like
the bigger the ring, the more well-fed the tree was.
Yeah.
The better it survived that year.
The better it killed off its competition.
Not necessarily.
There's been studies that like trees actually do communicate like with their roots and stuff with other trees and like navigate around other trees and stuff.
To form a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, and if they don't like the other trees, they just like kind of root them out.
Damn. What would it be like to be a tree? Living in fear all day of being chopped down by a chainsaw.
Living in competition for like thousands of years.
Unless you like the trees nearby.
Yeah.
You kill all the ones you don't like, so eventually over time, if you keep killing the ones you don't like, you'll eventually be surrounded only by trees you like.
Are we talking about the strongest tree in existence? It can just choose which ones it wants to destroy.
Not just the strongest tree in existence. I'm talking about tree gods.
Wait a minute. The older something is, the stronger it is.
Holy moly.
It was all leading up to this moment. This was all planned
been there
out.
all along.
How did we not notice?
We cracked the code, boys.
I take back everything I said about this episode.
No, you don't.
No, I don't, no. Anyway, that's how they deduced that this forest, because Clara was like, we don't really know. She makes a good point. It's like, we don't really know what happened, whether the trees grew overnight or we like somehow time traveled. But no, they grew.
But the doctor says, well, the TARDIS says we didn't time travel, so I'm pretty sure we didn't time travel.
Also, these trees have no rings.
Yeah. But then Mabes run off again, and Danny's like, she's got to take her meds. She's hearing voices. And the doctor's like, what is it with you humans and trying to shut everybody up? Kids hear voices and you want to shut them up. Kind of weird.
Well, I guess it's the thing of like, don't stifle the child's imagination. I mean, obviously there's more going on with Maeve here, but...
Yeah. To me, it comes off as like...
anti-vaxxers.
Almost. I mean, almost. It kind of does come off as like anti-schizophrenia meds, right?
Are there schizophrenia meds? I guess there are.
Yeah, if you take your medication, you could live a pretty comfortable and normal life with schizophrenia.
Sweet. Too bad most people who have schizophrenia probably don't have access to those.
Yeah, well, you can thank the completely busted healthcare industry for that.
Anyway, they run after Maeve, and she's sort of in a clearing.
She's moving her hands around to swat at something, and that's why Danny's like, she got to take her meds, and the doctor's like, this is not a nervous tick. This is communicating.
The doctor weirdly says that he has to increase the gravity, which he does with the sonic screwdriver, which makes some little lights. Yeah, I don't really know how that all ties in. Maybe it does. Maybe there's a grand scheme behind all of this, and like the increase the gravity line's part of it.
Well, Maeve's been talking this whole time about how the trees do communicate with each other.
Right.
because just not with like electricity. So the Doctor tries to use a sonic screwdriver to scan for communication, but the trees are wood, and he's like, damn it, the wood. So
Yeah.
sonic screwdriver still doesn't work on wood.
So once the Doctor increases the gravity, some little shards of light appear.
Right. Then they start communicating through Mabe.
Yeah.
And it's apparently the trees talking through Mabe.
Yeah, it's like the life force of the planet or something. It's been here before us.
It was here before you, and we'll be here after you.
Right.
I think is what they say.
Yeah.
Which is kind of menacing. I don't blame the Doctor for assuming these trees are trying to kill them all, based on how menacing that statement sounds.
Well, a lot of creatures were here before us and will be here after us, like cockroaches.
I can still smash cockroaches, though. They might be able to survive a nuclear blast, but can they survive the underside of my shoe? No. Point of the matter is, don't use nukes to kill cockroaches.
Got it.
Now you know. If you ever come into possession of some nukes, that's what you...
I know not to use them for.
Yeah, exactly.
I can just use them for other things.
Be like Elon Musk and use them to try terraform Mars.
Not his weirdest idea. Maybe it is his weirdest idea. I don't know. Isn't it like, if you were to blow up like one of the planets, wouldn't all the other ones just like eventually be destroyed?
Yeah, if you thought, I mean, they won't be destroyed, but eventually the Earth will basically like get pulled out of its like perfect alignment in the Goldilocks zone. We'll either get roasted to death or freeze to death. So
yeah, there's like these like solar system like simulator things online, and the biggest like the most fun you can have with them is just making like a bunch of weird stuff, like 5 suns right next to each other and stuff like that. But like, if you try and make a good one after you get bored of messing around and you like do that and just like remove one of the planets, all the other ones like take a while to get effed up, but eventually they do.
Yep.
That was my experience playing with them.
You played with a solar system simulator?
Yeah.
Well, that's wild. Yeah, well, I mean, that's just basic physics. Take one planet's gravity out of the equation. All the delicate balance is upset. What did Jeff Goldblum say in Jurassic Park? You've upset the delicate balance of life or something like that.
Yeah, thankfully we have these trees because they're going to save the Earth.
But they don't know that yet, though. The Doctor still thinks they're there to kill them. But then the Doctor's like, well, I can't save everyone on Earth. And Clara's like, oh, you could save the rest of us. So they go back to the TARDIS, and Clara's like, oh, we're just kidding. You need to leave. And the Doctor's like, wait, what? She's like, well, these kids are never going to stop wanting their parents. It's kind of a weird direction to take this episode now.
Yeah, really.
3/4 of the way through the episode.
Little odd what they're doing and what they've been doing with Clara this season.
Oh, meanwhile, Maeve's mom is the only person who's left their house in London. She's trying to bike through the forest. Well, her car probably won't fit.
But walking is better than biking if it's like densely packed forest.
I challenge that assumption.
I don't think so. I don't think biking is better. I just don't. Not speaking from experience.
Maybe she's a qualified mountain biker, though.
Maybe so.
In which case it would be better.
I don't know. Like, who knows?
She would know. We could ask her. If we existed in the
Ask
fictional
her character.
And if we existed in the fictional realm that this episode exists in.
Call in the boneless.
Wait, what? So the Doctor's like, okay, I guess. And he leaves. And Danny's like, why'd he leave? And Clara's like, I made him leave. Okay. But then the Doctor, well, because Clara offhandedly says something, because the government now is sending out defoliant crews, gonna get their Agent Orange on.
Oh my god. And, well, the Doctor has Maeve's notebook, which has... She predicted the forestation and the solar flare as well.
Oh, yeah, because, right. So 2 things about that, actually. One, he has all the kids' notebooks because Clara accidentally left them all in the TARDIS, and that's how Danny figures out. You know, last episode, the Doctor figured out that Clara was lying to the Doctor about Danny being okay with it. Danny figures out that Clara's been lying to her about not traveling with the Doctor because he realizes that all the notebooks are in the TARDIS.
Yeah, all her miscellanea strewn about the console room.
Well, also all the kids date their homework, so... Yeah. Second thing is, the fact that she had a notebook where she predicted this whole event reminded me of this Nicolas Cage movie I watched about 5 years ago, maybe more, 6 or 7 actually, called The Knowing, I think it's called.
Was this like a cash in on like The Conjuring and like all this, that?
I think so. But the plot of that novel is basically this young girl in movie, my bad. This young girl in the 60s has this idea. She pitches to the school to make a time capsule, and they agree. And so all the kids are drawing pictures, and she writes down a whole list of numbers. Then 50 years later, the time capsule is open, and then Nicolas Cage, as this FBI agent, his son, gets the page of numbers, and he realizes the numbers are predictions of terrorist attacks that were going to happen in the future, and the final thing on the page is a world-ending event that's going to kill everyone. There's a lot of similarities there. It's kind of weird.
No, I think you're stretching the similarities.
I don't think I am.
This doesn't even have Nicolas Cage in it.
Okay. What? I'm just talking about there's some plot similarities there.
Yeah, it's kind of similar, I guess. Not like one for one, not even too similar, really. It's just
I thought you were going to go not even 2 for 2 there when you started that sentence.
Sure, not even 2 for 2 either.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Just coined a new phrase.
Sure.
Anyway, I don't recommend that movie. It's pretty bad.
All right.
Let's just take my word for it.
I'll keep it off my list.
And I'm pretty sure it rips off the ending of Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke. I read that book after the movie, but they're very similar endings. Just saying.
Pretty influential book overall.
Yes. But anyway, the doctor is thinking about Clara's offhanded comment about how do you destroy a flame-proof forest because the defoliate crews are coming in. The doctor realizes that it's flame-proof. So the solar flare that's going to hit that we totally forgot to mention was the impending doom and danger is not going to affect them at all because the forest is flame-proof.
Right.
So the doctor then...
So the trees are actually benevolent. The doctor and pretty much everyone else is just like, well, guess we don't have to do anything.
Well, the doctor calls them all back and somehow they go back and the doctor's telling them about how the solar flare is going to kill them all. And he's like, I assume the teachers mentioned this, right? And they're like, no. And Clara's like, we didn't want to spoil the moment. And the doctor's like, wow! That's the bad news. Good news is you're going to be safe because you don't have to do anything because the trees are going to save you.
Yeah,
and
so that's
like, wow.
that. Trees save them. The doctor takes Clara to space to watch the event, so the flare hits.
Whoa. You're skipping over Danny's...
What am I skipping?
You're skipping over Danny's complete non-answer to Clara's question. But first, Mabe... Well, they call everybody on Earth, literally everyone on Earth, to tell them not to cut the trees down.
Oh, yeah.
And Mabe delivers this line. She's like, I started this. I should finish it. Damn entitled kids who go to freaking private school. No wonder they're such dicks.
Wow. It's a bit of a generalization there.
I went to a private school. I think I can make that statement.
It's still a bit of a generalization. I mean, the stories I've heard are fully in line with what you're saying.
Generalization.
But, there you go.
But anyway, then the doctor drops him off. Mabe meets up with her mom, and then the doctor's like, so you guys want to see the solar flare from space? And all the kids are like, no, I think I want my parents now. I'm like, okay, still a weird direction to be taking this.
Yeah, kids would be like, man, this is awesome. Yeah. I want to see the solar flare.
Kids would be like, yeah, I want to see the freaking sun. Hell yeah.
But no, the doctor only takes Clara.
Because Clara, this is the Danny moment. Clara's like, so Danny, you want to come see the solar flare? You don't get a chance like this again. And he goes, I'm a soldier. And I'm like, wait, okay, where are you going with this, Danny? He's like, I spent my whole life looking for things. And I'm like, I still don't know where this is going, Danny. And he's like, now I just want to focus on the things right in front of me. And I'm like, yeah, like the solar flare. And he's like, like you. And I'm like, okay, so go with her to see the solar flare. And then he's just like, yep. He walks away. I'm like, okay. I mean, I get it. The end was kind of sweet because he called Clara like the love of his life. And they get a kiss.
No, but even then...
But the beginning, where it's like the question is like, so you want to come with us? And his blunt on, just, I'm a soldier. Beep boop. I am Danny Bot. I am a soldier. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. I don't know why. Just because of how bluntly out of place that answer was to that question. At first,
Sure, I mean,
he tried to justify
Yeah, he ties it all back.
He ties it back.
He brings it all together at the end.
It's like, you mad
like
lad,
bear
what
with
plan?
me now.
Bear with me. And then...
So, yeah, they view the solar flare from space. It burns up all the trees, and the Earth is completely roasted. Everyone dies. No, I'm just kidding. Trees protect the Earth.
Well, we see also Missy watches the solar flare from,
Right.
I guess, an iPad.
On her iPad.
And she goes, well. That was surprising. I love surprises.
And this is what I mean when I say that she has been so in the background. It's like...
Well, she'll be back next week.
In the foreground.
In the foreground. To smash everything. To win the day.
I'm curious to find out what she's up to. Oh, we didn't mention that Maeve and Maeve's mother are reunited with Maeve's sister. Said that in the most awkward way possible. But yeah, her sister's back.
Which I thought was the weirdest way to end the story.
Yeah, a plant that looked like it had just been naturally growing. It didn't look like part of the whole everything's covered in forest, but like a plant in their like driveway, I guess, just kind of disintegrates and turns into her sister.
It reveals her sister was hiding in the bush. Doesn't turn into her sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we see her eyes poking out of the bush beforehand. Which
Maybe she was there the whole time.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird way to end the story.
Or whatever, however long it was.
She's been missing for like at least a couple months. Even the police couldn't find her, and Maeve's just phone call around the world just entices her to come home. Maybe she didn't want to be found. Maybe she was in witness protection. Do you think about that, Maeve? Might have just exposed her.
Maybe she was just in the bush the entire time.
Eating what?
Leaves.
Wow. I don't know. It just turned me off. I don't know, to the story. Just because of how long she was missing. I guess the reason why I did that is because it feels like a very forced happy ending at the end.
Well, it's
just
obviously...
Like
it's
voice going, feel good, before jamming it down my throat.
It's somehow related thematically to like all the other stuff that's going on, but,
I don't really feel like it is, though.
I mean, it has
to
be.
Which is why I feel like it's forced.
I mean, it necessarily has to be.
Does it, though?
Yep.
Why?
Because stories are holistic.
That doesn't mean every element of the story is necessarily related to whatever theme you're analyzing.
Yeah, well, I mean...
or whatever theme you pull out of it.
Well, because you can't not consider a portion of the story when you're considering it. You can hone in.
But then my consideration of this point in the story is that it doesn't fit with the rest of the story. That's my consideration.
But it can't do that. It's part of the story.
Yeah, just being part of doesn't mean it's a...
Yeah, it does.
Fits with the rest. It could be a busted part. It's like you could have a puzzle piece that's printed wrong.
No, I mean, I don't want to argue this back and forth, but no.
But yes.
It's not. Like...
It is.
It's been proven that that's not the case.
Proven by who?
By theorists.
By theorists. So they don't have any actual proof.
No,
it's just theory. Because they're theorists.
What?
Those are just theorists.
Yeah, like literary theorists.
Yeah, so it's just a theory.
I think you're taking this in a completely different direction of like, whoa, it's just a theory.
I guess. Anyway, there's other references to kids' stories or nursery rhymes in this. Maeve being dressed in red.
There's a gingerbread house in the woods.
Yeah, they reference that. Maeve being dressed in red and being chased by wolves is Little Red Riding Hood. The name of the story comes from a poem, apparently.
Yeah, by William Blake. Very famous poem.
And there was one more that now I'm forgetting.
I don't know.
It's just completely flown my mind. Oh well. Can't be that important then. But yeah, I just found this story completely and utterly underwhelming.
I mean, I'm going to say the same thing about it that I said about the story last week, which is that I think my favorite part was the 12th Doctor being snarky. I didn't dislike the story overall. Oh yeah, I have to give it a rating now because I'm doing that.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't have to.
If you just stop right now.
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay, done. Well, on that note, we actually have an email to respond to, unless you have anything else to say about the story.
No, I'm done.
So we have an email Subject line, Tagana would be proud of your podcast. Already a good start. Hi guys, I just recently discovered the Trust Your Doctor podcast and it has quickly become one of my all-time favorites. I just completed listening to your thoughts on the first Doctor's era, so that puts me about 5 years behind where you currently are. But I'm excited to have so many episodes to catch up on. As a longtime fan who has seen all of the episodes many times, it has been very interesting listening to your thoughts as first-time viewers. For the most part, I have agreed with your opinions, and you've even pointed out some amusing moments that I had overlooked, like the line from Planet of the Giants, when the Doctor mischievously says, "Won't be long now," as he scurries off. I laughed every time you referenced Tagana and how Barbara never seemed to do anything. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts about the second Doctor's episodes and whether Jamie will be able to overtake Barbara's kill count. Keep up the great work. Now onwards to more Cybermen, Macro Yeti, Ice Warriors, Silly Hatch, Shimmering Cat Suits, and Professor Zaroff. Quote, "Nothing in the world can stop me now." Unquote. Accent added for emphasis. Signed, David Beardsley. I'm going to omit your location for privacy's sake. For your privacy's sake,
thanks.
unless you really want
David.
to
we
say
read
it
his
on
full
air.
name.
Yeah, well,
You can probably find out where he is based on that.
I'm sure there's many David Beardsleys in the world.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You ever tried Googling yourself? I tried looking myself up on Facebook once, and there were at least 10 of them on the first page.
You have a very, common name.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out.
The classic show is just fun like that. And it feels like some of that...
There's a little bit of a slog sometimes.
But maybe this is just, the nostalgia kicking in.
I think it is.
But, the new series seems to have lost some of that fun, quality. I don't know.
I think that's just nostalgia.
Maybe.
I don't think we ever described the show as fun during that era until at least the fourth Doctor. So.
Well, who knows? But at least you're enjoying it.
Well, the thing is, we have our opinions on those episodes recorded in stone for good, so
but we can always rewrite those, like we've done with the Daleks and the
we didn't really rewrite them, though, because the old episodes still exist on our website. And I have double backups of both of them.
They're still there, but it's like they're crossed out with more stuff written in the margins. You can still read what's crossed out, but, there's a gloss to it now.
There's a gloss to it.
Exactly.
Okay. But thank you for reaching out, David. You have many, many hours of podcast still to go. I'm not going to spoil you on whether Jamie overtakes Barbara or not, but you can always just look at the website and find
forgot.
out.
That's why you're not saying it. Don't think I'm not going to call you on that.
How do you know? I just updated all the pages on the website.
Maybe you do know, but I don't.
Count.
But I don't. I don't know. Who? I don't know who the highest on the kill count is.
Pretty sure it's still it's one of the doctors. It's one of the late classic era Doctors.
Yeah,
I think.
Other than the Doctors, I meant companions. I didn't say that, but that's what I meant.
Well, I don't know companions.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the Doctors.
I think it's the Brig actually for companions. He does just commit genocide, killing all those Silurians off.
Yeah. Well.
What do you mean? Well, he did kill them off. That was what happened.
Yeah, but they're still the Sea Devils. He didn't kill them.
Okay, but we're talking about who has the most kills, not whether or not the people they killed survived.
Can't forget about those Sea Devils.
Yes, I can. I'll just conveniently quote forget unquote.
Well, I'll just remind you.
What if I just continue to deny their existence? Well, thank you, David, for actually enjoying those early episodes as well. I know they might be a little bit of a slog compared to the newer ones. So, thank you for... and also thank you for reaching out.
Yeah.
If there's anybody else out there who'd like to reach out, you can email us at thedoctor@decadentvegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, your thoughts on forests in the night. You can find us on YouTube at Decorative Vegetable. Find us on Apple Podcasts and Google Play at Trust Your Doctor. Be sure to leave a rating if you liked the show.
Check us on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook. Also check us on Twitter at TYD Podcast. And like we said before, we're going to be joined next week by JB Anderton to watch...
Dark Water and Death in Heaven.
Yeah, that. But until then, the end.